Hi, I'm Max, I'm the creator behind Eat the Rich Art, and today I thought I'd do the Meet the Maker tag that was going around last year, just because, why not? I feel like I've not really had the chance to introduce myself properly on the channel. I've just been kind of rambling at you and oversharing, so here's like a nice overshare for you to get to know. So, the questions are from, well, I'm taking them from Granny by Nature Crochet and their Yarnuary video that they've just released. I can't remember who started the challenge. I just can't. So, I'm going to start out with a question that's not actually on here because it's a question that I often wonder about people that not everyone feels comfortable answering, that's fine. But just a general introduction. My name, age and pronouns. My name is Max. I am 23, turning 24 in March, and my pronouns are he, him, they, them. I don't mind the occasional it here and there. Yeah, generally what I use. Basically, as long as you're not referring to me as she or female or a woman, that is fine, because those are not things that I identify with. Anything else is fine. But yeah, on to the crochet questions. So question 1 is, how did I learn to crochet? I think my answer to that is the same as a lot of other people on here. I learned from YouTube and Ribbler and just teaching myself, really. Yeah. I think the first time I tried crocheting was around COVID time, but I was using like this little loom band plastic hook that used to come with the like plastic looms that you'd put the elastic bands on, and some really horrible yarn that I just had given to me by someone somewhere down the line. So yeah, give it a go with that in 2020. Didn't get on with it, shockingly. But then it got to, I think, 2022, 2023-ish. I think it was just after I turned 21, so that would be 2023. And yeah, I picked it up. I think my housemate had started doing it not long before, so I thought, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd started watching a few different crochet content creators, namely Passionate Cassie. Saw people making really cool stuff with granny squares, and I wanted a new hobby because I was really like in a really bad reading slump. I'm still not really out of that slump. Been struggling to read for a few years now, just because of brain fog and getting busy and adult life. So yeah, I wanted a hobby I could do while I watched my shows, so that it was a bit easier for my brain to do things. Yeah, that's what I did. I just picked up a few different videos on how to make a granny square, a couple of blog posts, made a triangle, frogged it, remade the granny square. Originally I made a giant rainbow scrap blanket out of granny square. It got to like a good 3 or 4 feet wide just in one going around and around and around. But I ended up frogging that down to make the hexagons that were shown last year. Just because I thought that it would look nicer to make a granny hexagon plush, except I didn't realise that I needed pentagons and squares as well as hexagons, so I've just made all hexagons, and now I don't know what to do with that. So if anyone has any ideas on what to do with 90 floral granny hexagons, send them my way, because I'll probably just make them into a blanket otherwise. Yeah, that's how I learned to crochet. Bought a kit off Amazon. It was £17. I'll link the one I used in the description because the hooks are really nice, actually. I need to buy myself a replacement because I'm starting to wear through the grips on some of them. But yeah, that was question 1. Question 2, what my favourite thing to crochet is. Plushies. Definitely plushies. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's my implings. Specifically, the Pattern by Fibre Fable. I just love them. I think they're gorgeous. I have plans at the minute to buy some blanket yarn and do them in blanket yarn so they turn out big, because I think they'll be cute. So yeah, that was an easy enough question. If I could only use one yarn for the rest of my life, this is question 3, it would have to be Yarnsmith Chenille Junkie. I love it. I love the colours it comes in. I love the range it comes in. I really wish that they had some variegated options in it, though from the look of it they've come out with some for Snug as a Bug. So I'm hoping that gets transferred down to the chenille line at some point as well. But yeah, any Yarnsmith's yarn, basically, as long as it's a plush yarn, but specifically the Chenille Junkie. Yeah, it's just so soft, and yeah, I love it. The weirdest thing I've ever made, I don't know. I feel like everyone says like they've not really made anything weird. If we're going by like society standards of weird, then quite a lot of the stuff I make's weird. Like, not everyone wants a little plushy demon in their house, but I love making little plushy demons. So I guess that. Actually no. The weirdest thing I've made is, I'm gonna grab him. I'll be back in a second. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, he might not seem that weird, but it was this Labubu. This was my first ever amigurumi in chenille, my first ever time using a plush yarn, and my first ever pattern test. And he's just goofy as hell, and I love him so much, but the pattern did ask for you to have 2 different weights of yarn, and one of them to be fluffy, and I did neither of that. I just did it all in the same weight. I think I sized my hook down for the bit that was meant to be in the lower weight yarn. But yeah, he's so goofy. The hands are so big, the feet are so big. I didn't sew the hood down, so I can just pop his little ball head out there, because this guy was never made to be sold, so I went a bit lazy with him. But yeah, he's just so weird, and I love him. He lives on my bookshelf because I can't give him up. He wasn't the first amigurumi ever, but he was my first plush yarn project. So that is the weirdest thing I've made. The next question is something I'll never crochet. Chicken nuggets. To be perfectly honest, like, no shade to anyone who does make them, I just think they're stupid. I know that sounds quite harsh, because like, I do find them funny, and I find it funny when people do them in the little like boxes. Like, I saw someone who went to their local McDonald's and just asked for a bunch of boxes and got given a few. Yeah, I think it's funny. I just don't see the appeal personally myself for like buying or making them, because it's just an orange blob. And again, that might sound really harsh, I'm really sorry. This is no shade to anyone who's made a chicken nugget pattern. This is no shade to anyone who loves making the chicken nuggets or who's bought a chicken nugget off someone or anything. I just personally, I do not see the appeal. So yeah, that's probably something I'm not going to make. I don't know if there's anything else. I'm looking around to see like what I have made that's around, but I don't know. Yeah, just chicken nuggets, I think. The next question is, where do I get my inspiration? Instagram. I have 2 different like saved collections on my Instagram. One is for free patterns that I really want to make, and then one is for paid patterns I'd like to buy when I can. So whenever I see a pattern test that's either already closed or I've not got into it, that goes in the paid patterns wish list collection, and then when I see a free pattern that I want to make, it goes into my free patterns collection. And yeah, when I'm looking for things to make, I just scroll through there, or I scroll through Ribbler as well, especially the explore page on there. Most days I max out my 5 free patterns, so I've got no idea how many I've got saved to Ribbler, but yeah, that's where I get my inspiration from. The other thing I get my inspiration from just generally is things I love, so How to Train Your Dragon, K-pop Demon Hunters, the patterns I've written for those were just inspired by the media itself, basically. My toothless pattern has been released on my Ko-fi and my Ribbler, so that is available if any of you would like to try it. It's also just up for free on my Instagram. The Ko-fi version is a PDF and has a print-friendly page at the end that's got the whole pattern in just black and white text. So that's there. That's why that one's the paid one, because it took me a while to sort it all out to get it made. You can pay what you like for that as long as it's over £1. So minimum donation £1, but pay what you can really for that. And then yeah, it's on my Instagram, and the Ribbler pattern is also free. Just because yeah, I wanted to try writing a pattern into Ribbler out, so I've done that. So yeah, that is where my inspiration comes from. My favourite thing I've made so far this year, well, it's only the 9th of January, so I've not made much. I think my favourite thing I've made this year, as in like this calendar year, as in 2026, is my Winnie the Pooh hoodie bear. I will pop an image up of that. Yeah, that's my favourite thing I've made this year. My favourite thing I've made overall has got to be my mini Aussie the Bull. He's just so adorable. I'm looking over at him because he's over my bookshelf. Yeah, he's just so cute, and he's like one of the things where I was like, oh my god, he is so adorable, people are gonna love him, and he's not sold, so I've ended up keeping him, but I might make another one for the table for this year and see if he gets some love. My favourite non-crochet thing I've made is my Blake Doctors, my GB Blake Doctors. I just love them, they're just goofy, and the way that I weight them is really nice. So photos of all of those will have been on the screen if you are curious. And yeah, I think they'll be on my Ko-fi store to buy as well, but I'll check that. Crochet plans I'm excited about for the future. So plan 1 is my derpy pattern is currently in note form, so I want to write that up, get it tested and get it released, hopefully this month. I think I'm gonna try to release a pattern. I don't want to commit to one a month because that feels like a lot, and then when I get busy I'll like feel bad about falling behind on it, but maybe every 2 or 3 months I want to drop a pattern, because I've got to the point with my crochet journey now where I'm freehanding quite a lot, so I want to keep better notes of what I do when I do that. Firstly for me, because I should be doing that anyway, so that I can make sure that the patterns are consistent enough for UKCA stuff if I do want to remake them, but also so that I can write and release those patterns. I'll probably do a mix of free and paid depending on how complex they are. So my derpy pattern I know already is going to be a paid pattern. That doesn't mean, however, that I will always make people pay. If you are able to and willing to pay, that's great, that's supporting me, but I know what it's like to be someone who can't afford to buy nice patterns and then get a bit sad that everyone's making the same pattern, you can't. So if that is an issue for you, DM me, we'll work something out, bestie, okay? That is something I'd like to do this year, is write and release more patterns. Other plans I'm really excited for, I have a Renaissance fair booked this year, so I'm going to get to make so many like little cute spooky things. I've got so many patterns bookmarked that I'd like to make. I got a couple of patterns recently that are going to be great for it. So yeah, Ren Fair and all of the cool things that come with it. So that is patterns, plans. The worst thing about crochet. There's two things I don't like about crochet. Number 1, this is real talk here. Again, I mean no shade towards anyone. This is not directed at anyone. Okay. Number 1 is overconsumption. And this is something that I'm fighting pretty hard in my own personal life, of that urge to just buy and buy and buy and buy yarn and then never use it. And then that encourages people, especially younger people who are quite influenceable, to have these massive stashes that they're never going to use because so and so on YouTube has the yarn wall behind them, and like that could mean so many people have a yarn wall. And if you're a business and you're using all of your yarn, then great, that's good for you, because then you've got the tools at hand to continue your business and to make things that you need to make, especially for people who get a lot of custom orders that may be very specific about colours and things, and therefore they need a wide array of colours. But for young people who either don't run their own business or don't take custom orders or don't have the funds or space because they're still living at home to have these massive yarn collections, that really pressures them, I feel. Or like, I mean, other people have said it as well, people who were in that position, that they see that and they desire it and they feel like they're not a real crocheter because they've not got a massive stash of yarn. But for most of my fibre journey, I've never had a massive stash. My stash is the biggest it's ever been right now, and I only have 10 kilos of yarn in my house, less than 10 kilos. I've, like, most of my life, I've just had a small, like, an old bag that was used for bedding, that, like, a set of bedding came in full of yarn, and that's been my entire stash. So, like, the same with fabric, because I sewed a lot before I started crocheting. Over COVID, I had a business making fabric masks. I made over 500 masks. But I still never had a fabric stash that took up more than a box because I didn't have the space in my parents' house nor the money to have a stash any bigger than that. So yeah, that is one thing I don't like about crochet, is how much overconsumption is encouraged. I know I feed into it as well by doing my yarn hauls. I am going to try, as part of my trying to be better this year, every time I do a yarn haul, because I'm not going to stop doing them, they get views, to put it lightly. But every time I do a yarn haul, I'd like to put a bit of a disclaimer out there to say, look, I'm restashing what I know I'm going to use, and no more than that. So yeah, fighting overconsumption little by little. So that is one thing I don't like about the crochet community in general. The second thing is snobbery. So this feeds into the same overconsumption idea of, like, people who either get aggy when you say that you're using acrylic yarns or chenille yarns because they're bad for the environment and blah blah blah. It's just not worth having that fight with people, because some people might be allergic to natural fibres, or they might not be able to afford natural fibres. Crocheting itself should be an accessible hobby because it should be affordable. There's so many supplies out there at charity shops, second-hand shops already, that people should be able to access the entire hobby with like a fiver. And if that means they're buying acrylic yarn to keep them going, then that means they're buying acrylic yarn. It's cheap. I don't blame them. Again, until very recently, I was in a position where that's what I'd buy because I could buy it and I couldn't afford much more than that. I'm very glad now I can afford chenille and that I've been very kindly gifted a lot of lovely yarn. But yeah, I don't get the snobbery around fibres. If you like to use snobby fibres, brilliant, great for you. I love seeing, oh God, who was it recently? I think it's Good Yarn Bad Knits. I think I'm thinking of the right person. She's an American who's living in London who just recently made like a snood thing out of like Arctic fox fibre or something like that. It looked so nice, and from what she was saying, it was lovely to work with. And like, I am so happy for her that she can get that bougie fibre, because that kind of exploration seems really interesting to me. But I'm happy to do that exploration by living vicariously through other people. I don't need to be buying the bougie £200 a ball fibres. So yeah, they kind of feed into each other, and seeing how excited she was about that as well was really cool, and like her review of the pipe was really cool. And that is one thing I do love about Good Yarn Bad Knits, is that she knows that that's a massive treat and that she is in a privileged position to be able to do that. I think she, even in that video, went on a whole rant about like, don't be a yarn snob, basically. So that was really nice to see. Yeah, just don't crap on people for not being able to buy nice yarns. But that is, like, to be fair, that goes for the entire fibre community and not just crochet. And then my third least favourite thing about crochet is that I don't have the time to do it all day every day, and my wrists hurt if I do. I wish I had magic mechanical wrists and endless money to buy endless yarn, and I know I've just gone that whole rant about overconsumption. Endless yarn that I can use and endless time to do it, but sadly I don't. To finish off on some positivity there. Then we have 2 questions left. So the first one of those questions is, what is my favourite thing about crochet? Doing it. I love it, and the community around it, and how kind and welcoming that everyone has been. And this is probably the perfect place to shout out some fabulous women who have been so much help in my journey with starting this whole thing, and especially the content side of it. So a big thank you to lovely Christine, who is the lady who has supplied me with much of my yarn. I'm really enjoying using it, and you have saved me a whole lot of hassle and money by gifting such a kind gift to me. Thank you so much. To Trish from G'day Crochet for supporting me on the videos. Go watch her channel, she's cool. I love the things she makes, and over Christmas she reviewed a lot of Temu crochet kits, and that was really quite funny at points to watch. So yeah, Trish, thank you. Hello. Tracy from Travel Crochet has been so supportive in my content creating journey, both in front of and behind the scenes. Her shout out was the reason that I managed to crack the 50 subscriber point, so thank you, Tracy. And then Debbie from Coastal Crochet UK and Nicole from Be a Flamingo, thank you both for being very patient with me when I ask questions, and for helping me out and being happy to answer questions as well. And also to Nicole for chatting with me in comments, because that always brightens my day, having those little interactions. And yeah, I think that is everyone off the top of my head. Obviously, if I'm thanking women, yeah, if I'm doing my like crochet creator article speech, I've obviously got to give a massive shout out to my mum and my nan and my auntie, who have taught me to craft and taught me to love crafting since I was but a wee bab. Yeah, we've always been a crafty family, and I won't be able to do it without them. And I suppose the men deserve some love as well. So to my partner, thank you. I love you for being in my corner and for winding my yarn and for dealing with me being hyper-fixated on things and not shutting up about them, and showing you the same pattern 20,000 times, because every time I make something like extra on it, like an arm, it's just so cute I have to show you. Thank you to my dad for always being in my corner and for supporting my videos and for being there for me. And thank you to Pops for being my biggest TikTok supporter. You won't see this because you don't watch my YouTube, but I appreciate it. So that is all of the gooey thank yous. My other favourite things about crochet: doing it, being able to make such gorgeous things, and just like I can do that, like that's insane. I get so excited whenever I make something new, because I'm like, oh my god, this is adorable and I have created it with my hands. That's cool. So yeah, that's my other favourite thing to crochet. Also, just like feeling yarn is nice. Just like touching it. Apart from if it's wool. Wool can die. Thank you. Okay, and then my final question is, I don't know if this was in the original tag or if it was tagged on there by Maddie and Janet from Granny by Nature, but yeah, my best and least favourite things about being a crochet content creator. So I'm gonna do 2 stars and a wish. So this is something that we do in British primary schools to encourage us to think reflectively on what has happened, to encourage us to be able to both praise ourselves and critique our own work. And yeah, so 2 stars and a wish. So that is 2 things that I enjoy and 1 thing that I wish was better. So star 1 is that I have started to build such a lovely community. This feeds back into my favourite things of crochet. I love so much being able to share my creativity with people and for people to enjoy that I'm doing that and to tell me that they enjoy that I'm doing that, and then I get to enjoy what they're doing as well. That's so cool. That's so cool. And everyone has been so kind and so lovely. So that was star 1, is how just lovely it has been to have a community. Number 2 is that it's a new outlet for me, getting to make these videos and engage with people. I do genuinely already, even though I'm just chatting to my phone, I feel like I'm talking to all of you behind the camera. Yeah, it's been nice to like have some interaction is probably the more positive way of phrasing it. And then my wish is that it was easier to build, I guess. Like, we've been through ebbs and flows, currently in a bit of a downturn where I was doing so well. I was so nearly at 60 subscribers, and then just out of the blue I lost a few, and then like they're gradually gaining again, but it's really hard to predict those ebbs and flows. And obviously when you've got a massive channel like Passionate Kelsey, where you've got 750,000 subscribers, losing 1 or 2 you don't even notice, but when you've got like 57 when the number goes from 59 to 57 you do notice. And yeah, that obviously spikes my anxiety a bit, because I'm like, have I done something wrong? Is there a reason that people aren't enjoying what I do? But I just have to remind myself that not everyone's going to like me and that that's okay, and that I'm owed nothing. You guys don't owe me watching. You guys don't owe me staying subscribed or anything like that. And it's very, very appreciated that you do, and that you keep watching, that you keep commenting as much as you all do. So yeah, I think that's the worst part, is not knowing what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. It's very hard to know that, just because you don't know, like, if it's an algorithm thing or if it's a personal thing or what, really. I'm at the mercy of the computer gods, and they're not very good at communication. So that's my wish, is that the computer gods were better at communicating, I guess. And yeah, that is everything I had to say. That is all of the questions. I'm not tagging anyone, because I'm pretty sure that everyone's already done this and I'm very late to the trend. So if you got this far, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to support me, my store is in the description. I ship to the UK and the EU. I am open to shipping to other locations, but you'll need to drop me a message to let me know, just so I can work out what your shipping's going to be. My Instagram and TikTok are linked down there. I should probably link my Ribbler as well, now that I'm starting to put my patterns on there, so that will probably be down there as well. All of the patterns that I use are linked in a Google Doc down below. I don't know what else I have to say. I think that is it. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.